Superman. Should we all chant? Superman, Superman. This one I do have your. I gave it a 4 out of 5. You gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Those are pretty stellar reviews, in my opinion. Now, Superman is James Gunn's newest film for his new DC universe. And it stars David Corenswet as Superman Clark Kent. Of course, Rachel Brosnahan takes over the role of Lois Lane. We have tons of familiar faces and wonderful characters that show up, memorable characters that show up throughout DC in this movie. This is a movie in scope. It's not an origin tale. By the time we start off, they give you the scroll, and then Superman is ready to go. We have established who he is, what this world is, who's in it, and what's going on in it. And it does so well, and it shows so well what kind of filmmaker James Gunn is. And James Gunn I've always had a lot of respect for. I love Super. I love those early stuff, Romeo and Juliet, all that stuff from back in the day. As a writer, as a director, he has his... I think a lot of people went into this and were like, okay, it's not stoically optimistic like Christopher. It's not dark and gritty like Henry Cavill's. It's not like... It wasn't like any of the movies. And people are trying to compare it to. Honestly, I'm still on the fence about this one. I think this might be my favorite Superman.
Heck yeah.
And the reason I go with that is because it's so true. Like, everybody loves a certain Superman actor. Paul, who's your favorite Superman actor? And it's fine. Any answer is fine by me.
I kind of softy for Christopher Reeves. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a terrible answer. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's a great answer. Christopher Reeves is probably the pinnacle, right? Like the shining star that you want to live up to.
Right.
But I never cared about the actors who played Superman. I care about the character.
Right.
And if you get the character right, and listen, I like Henry Cavill. I thought he was great as Superman. He had the physique, he had the look. He was dark and gritty, but he fit within the world that they're building. But I didn't love that Superman. I'm like, this just isn't Superman. I didn't love his Clark Kent. He didn't really seem to understand Clark Kent, in my opinion. This got him all right. Not just Superman, not just Clark Kent, everything. Jonathan and Martha Kent were fantastic. Felt very real. Felt like parents who really cared about their boy and just worried about him. Lex Luthor felt real. That's the weirdest part. I know exactly who he was based on, all of them, and it worked. The political narrative. Why wouldn't we have that? I don't care what people say about the political narrative. Yes, this is clearly Israel, and it's clearly Gaza, and we're getting this story's feelings about that, man, and what Superman would do in that world if it was sort of happening. In this movie it's a difference, Baravia, and I can't pronounce the other one. They went with like a something really crazy long name that starts with a J, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, and I've seen this movie 4 times now, so you would think I'd remember. But it was one of those things where, like, it not only was it interesting to have added so many like current events that are happening and people that we recognize and such. I felt like that added, yes, controversy for a lot of people because it felt like it was politicized, but I feel like it mirrors what we wanted to see. I feel like this was more realistic in tone in a comic book movie than I've seen since maybe Winter Soldier or The Dark.
Okay.
And I don't understand why people are so up in arms about the controversy of the politicizing of it when you watch The Winter Soldier or The Dark Knight.
Right.
Both do the exact same. This one is just spelling it out for you, but telling it in a way that fits within the realm of like comic books. This is right out, like this movie, the absurdity, how big on scale it gets. It has a black hole in it. And that's where I'm going to kick off and say this. We're going to talk some spoilers tonight, so I'll throw the ticker up. But this scope, like, and the things they do in it, they introduce characters like, and again, turn it off, come back later for the director's thing, but Metamorpho. I never thought I'd see Metamorpho on the screen. I saw people like going parademons in the last one. I'm like, no, Metamorpho was cool. That was awesome. You get Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. You get Mr. Terrific. You get Hawkgirl. And people are arguing. But there's the same people who argue that, like, when there's cameos from other heroes in movies, they're not in it long enough. Well, then they naturally weave these characters in to help Superman and work, and you kind of get an idea and scope of this world we're building now. So that way, when Batman's in it and Wonder Woman's in it and everybody else is in it, you're like, yeah, it's believable. I'm in it. I loved it. You get a kaiju fight in it. You get Lex Luthor being Lex Luthor and have this grand scheme. I thought they did great with Ultraman. There's a nice twist there for comic book fans that I think when he comes back, we're going to be really happy. Personally, I think he's Bizarro. but he could go to a different universe and become the Ultraman. We don't know. And then we can get the Dark Justice League. Oh, not Dark Justice League, but the I can't remember their names, but if we can get them, it would be amazing. It was like a evil variation of the Justice League from another universe, so like he could set that up, or he could set up his Bizarro or whatever. But like, you got a lot of characters that just really fit. Jimmy Olsen is like a player with the ladies, which was hilarious because it's Jimmy Olsen. And it worked. He was pulling it off perfectly. Eve Tessmacher, they gave her a better role than they have in the originals. Everyone had a point, and that's very hard to do in such an ensemble piece movie as such like this, especially with a lot going on. Everyone was there for a reason. It all worked. That's great storytelling. This is a great narrative, and I'm so happy with this movie. We are back to an optimistic, non-cynical Superman that doesn't shy away from things that are happening in the world, and nor should it, because he's Superman. So I loved it. Paul, I talked my butt off about it, and I could keep going, but what did you think?
So I'm always kind of like middle of the road for superhero movies, right? Because we always know how they're going to go. I feel like a majority until now, right? So Marvel, we've gotten spoiled with it's non-sub action, couple of laughs usually. That's it. They're pretty baseless. Usually, I'm not saying all of them. Don't all of you get offended. I love this. This gave me hope with DC again. This made me want to feel happy about DC again, because DC tends to bleed more of the darker side of any other superheroes. I get the comics are a little more about the characters and where they came from, and it usually is darker and things of that nature. But I thought they did a great job with this. Any of the controversy stuff, I mean, you guys get over it. I mean, it's real. To me, I just think, if anything, it was a brilliant choice because it made it more real. Because it's what's going on around us. So then we were able to connect to this movie more. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's showmanship. That's what you should do. That's what all movies, for the most part, should do, is tie it into at least a realm of reality to us, but enough to make it fantastical where we enjoy it. And then we can think of what would happen if Superman was here right now.
Right.
So with all that being said, I did love it. Like that 3.5, I think was, it probably should have gotten more. I'm just not, if it's higher than that, it's Deadpool, but that's just because I curse a lot. I like dirty jokes, and that's just my style. But as far as superhero movies go, that's probably the highest I've rated just a superhero movie. And I've never really super cared about Superman, but now I'm excited for another James Gunn Superman movie. I thought it was great. I think everyone should see it, the whole family. That dog had me almost on the floor pissing myself. I couldn't get enough of Crypto, man.
Crypto.
I was like, that's going to be my future dog. I swear, I'm going to get a rescue pup and be like, I love you so much. And that dog's just going to throw me around like that, just constantly piss me off.
That dog was the best. And the fact that it was a rescue from James Gunn, like that's his dog. And he shared on TikTok. It's not an all white dog. Like, it's like a black and white spotted, a white dog with black spots, and it's adorable. And they filmed him watching the trailer and chasing Crypto around.
Okay.
I thought that was fantastic. And like, Crypto is just a wonderful addition. Crypto is always special, like, for people who read the Superman comics, because Crypto's his dog and it's man's best friend. And Superman was always alone. So when he finally found Crypto, he had like a best friend. He had somebody that was always by his side and always protected him. Always. Right. He pulled Crypto out of the Phantom Zone, realizing who he was. Like, he was oh my God, that was such a good one. So this was perfect. He was annoyed with him, but they loved each other. And like, and one of the things about this movie that really resonated with was the showing of his humanity. That was what I've always argued about Superman. I have a lot of people who tell me Superman is boring, and I always said, I was like, the best part about Superman is Clark Kent is who he is. Right. Superman is who he puts on. Right. Yes, he has those powers. Superman is Clark Kent being allowed to be all of himself. But Clark is still there. Right. Clark is still prevalent. People, I don't think, realize that about Superman. Clark never leaves Superman. Like, Bruce is who he was named, what he was named. Batman is who he became and who he is, and that's all he wants to be. Superman is, like, if you notice, most of the heroes call him Clark when nobody's around. Right. Most people call him Clark. He calls other people by their names because he recognizes their humanity and he wants the best of them. He doesn't want to see Batman as just Batman. He wants Batman to be Bruce because that's his friend and he wants him to love his humanity. That's what it's all about. So when I watched this, I was like, you pegged it. I was like, the first Jewish actor to play Superman. And for anybody who understands the history of Superman, when they wrote him, there was two Jewish writers who were basically teenagers. I think they're like 19 or 20 or something like that. Wrote Superman at a time in 1938 when they were watching other Jewish people being completely persecuted against and just treated horribly by the Nazi party during that time. So they built Superman as a way to be sort of an allegory for like Jesus and like their idea of a Messiah coming to save them, and it was a Jewish hero in look and feel and like what they were going for. And he fought for what they thought should be the American way, truth, justice. A better tomorrow, which is the new saying, truth, justice, and a better tomorrow, which is controversial to people, is what the American way was to them. The American way is a better tomorrow for everyone. So that's what I love about it. That's what I've always felt about it. And the fact that they picked a Jewish Superman this time around and he works so great, that's fantastic. I think that just adds layers to it. And David, keep going, my friend. And oh my God, Rachel Brosnahan is, in my opinion, she's the best Lois Lane.
100%.
And when they picked her, I was like, I wonder if they're going to do it in the past, kind of like what they're doing with Fantastic Four, because she was Maisel in Marvelous Miss Maisel. And I was like, she's a Spitfire. And I always said when I watched that show, I was like, with the look and with the way she talks, she would make a great Lois Lane from back in the day. And then they announced her, and I'm like, I wonder if they're going to do that because they picked her. But she was such a great contemporary Lois Lane. She's the best. And I love Margot, but I love Terry Hatcher. Erica Durance was great. I can't think of her name on Superman and Lois, but she was fantastic too. But Lois has always been the backbone. Lois is the one that really keeps him on the straight and narrow. Right. Like his parents were growing up, and then she's that for him, and she really brings out the humanity in him in many ways. And I just love that she does that. And in this, we got to see her and her perspective of seeing his humanity and like how that message comes out about the parents. And it was real. The parents wanted him to take over, but it was the Kents who taught him it's so much more. And I think they just handled it well. So go see this on the big screen. It's worth it. I loved it. You're sticking with 3.5. I'm sticking with 4. Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure I also do written reviews. You can go check those out as well over on Substack or Letterboxd. I put a few more things in there whenever I do them, but thank you guys for watching this one. We're going to bring Sturdy in just a second, but it is time